In the quiet spaces where roots grow deep and stories rise like smoke through trees, there's a voice, ancient, evolving, becoming. This is a place for the wild-hearted, the weary, the rising, for the woman who is learning, unlearning, and remembering who she's always been. Welcome to the Rooted Owl Diaries. Good afternoon, friends. It's Tiffany. I am back with a new episode, The Sacred Mess of Motherhood. And first bullet point is, have you ever felt like you're doing everything but still not doing enough? Because man, let me just tell you that this goes through my head at least 3 or 4 times a day, and a lot more the past couple of years than anything else. And I'm not really sure why. I literally feel like I'm working myself to death, trying to keep afloat and also keep everyone in the house at ease. And sometimes it's a lot, and I realized a couple years ago that, that's all I was trying to do, was just keep everything in order. But I wasn't worrying about my health, about my mental health, about my physical health. Like, am I feeding my brain? Am I feeding my soul? We still have to, keep up those things when it comes to ourselves. And I feel like sometimes we just become so overwhelmed with life that, we don't think about anything else. And that's very important. Of course, it's important that your kids are happy and healthy and maintained, and that your husband is happy and healthy and maintained, or spouse, whichever. It's all a lot of things to juggle. And ever since I turned, I guess it was like, 35, it's harder and harder for me to juggle these things. Like, I just want to be at peace. That's all I want. I don't want to climb a corporate ladder. I just want peace, but also not have to worry about things. And I feel like that's going to always be a thing. That's the goal, obviously, to not have to worry. But how can you do that and still maintain your home and, bring in income? Those things are very hard. Being a good mom, to me, I feel like, is just being there for support. Always making sure that your kids know that they can come to you for anything, whether it's good or bad. Like, I don't want my kids to ever feel like they can't come to me for anything, even if it might make me upset. And that is pretty much what I've built my relationship with my kids on, is you can always come to me for anything, no matter what. Let's talk about the difficult decisions. They're going to be uncomfortable, but it's okay. We'll work through it. Because, if you don't have those uncomfortable conversations with your kids, you might leave them stranded, not knowing things. And, our job is to prepare our kids to live without us, as sad as that sounds. You don't want them to go on not knowing. I think being a good mom also is making sure that you're doing good for yourself and that you're happy. And yeah, and as women, we have kids, and, postpartum is a thing. Postpartum depression, depression is a thing regardless. Like winter hits and I am immediately in a funk. I don't know. I guess it's because of the lack of sun. It probably is. But um, we have to do better for ourselves, for our kids and our spouses and our families. It's a tough road, you know. Life is not easy. We have to come up with healthy coping mechanisms. Um, Read, write, do art, feed your brain. Everything that you can do for your mental is the best. Everything that you can do for your physical is the best. Like I'm not huge on exercise. I just recently started going back to the gym a few months ago. But walking has always been a thing for me. I don't mind to walk. I like to walk in nature. Um, it's hard, you know? And I think passing these things and rituals down to our kids, things that they can do to make themselves happier, is a really good thing, you know? Because someone else may not be telling them the same things. And, you know, we have to learn. And we've learned the hard way, so why not just give them a cheat code, you know? Anyway, um I would say there is a lot of pressure to make motherhood look a certain way, especially on social media. Not every person, not every mother, not every father is is the same. You know, I've never met one person that is the same. I just had to stop mid conversation because I realized that I was saying, you know, so many times. I felt like I was on the phone with my best friend just kind of gossiping. But back to what I was saying, life can be chaotic. And what is chaotic for you with motherhood right now? For me, it's mainly dealing with the changes of life, you know, the new seasons coming up. Um, both of my kids are growing up, and the hardest part for me is dealing with that. I need to give them more privacy. I need to stop being so annoying and checking up on them so much and just let them be, let them have their time. But, you know, how can you? It should be exhausting the amount of time that you try to check on your kids. And and I had to correct myself. I actually filmed this episode a couple days ago, but I was talking about how I might be coming up on that chapter where I may become an empty nester, and it makes me sad. I was only talking about my youngest, how it's my youngest baby, it's my last baby that's going to start driving and start working, and I'm not going to hardly see her anymore. Meanwhile, I'm still dealing with and trying to cope with the fact that my oldest is working out there driving and alone, and it's scary. It worries me. I'm equally worried for both of them. But now that, you know, my 16-year-old is about to be doing the same thing, I'm worried a lot more about her because, you know, the world is crazy that we live in, and I'd like to see or hear how everyone else dealt with this. If let me know if you're an empty nester or about to be, or you just became an empty nester. Let me know. Throw in some comments. What are some things? How did you deal? How did you keep your sanity? Because I am going through it these days, but yeah. Right now times are crazy with it, with all the trafficking stuff, which that's always been a thing, but now more so I feel like it's gotten way worse. I just want my kids to be observant and not feel like invincible. Like, things can happen to you. You have to be super, super observant. And I think I've done a good job of teaching them that, but as they get older, they're like, oh, no, nothing's going to happen to me. But it can. And very quickly. But also, part of me, I think, is starting to get a little sad because I am coming up on this season of life where I might have picked, I might, you know, be an empty nester, within a few years, I could be an empty nester, and it terrifies me. And it's not because I'll be, alone with my husband or anything. We always have our own things going on, but it's because I think I'm feeling because my kids may not need me anymore. I am so sorry. This always chokes me up. Um, does anybody else feel that way? It's like, how hard is it going to be for me to get used to not having kids in their rooms or kids walking around and joking and laughing? It scares me, but it's part of life, I guess. And I think that's the chaos that is really hard for me right now. Um, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. What season of life are you going through? What is your mess in motherhood right now? And just make sure you're staying grounded, rooted, drink your water, get your sun, read, write, do crafts, do art. Make sure you're going walking or running if you're a psycho, which I am sometimes. But anyway, till next time. Wherever you are on your journey, stay rooted, stay wild, and keep becoming. Until next time, this is the Rooted Owl Diary.